the homework from last week was negative self-talk. So type in on the chat, how did you do with your negative self-talk? And I'm going to look at your answers here. We were talking about how without noticing, we do a lot of negative self-talk. Oh, I can't do this, it is too challenging, and this and that and the other. So let me know in your notes, in your answers, if you've noticed anything different this time, if you were aware of your negative self-talk. And there you go. Call using internet audio. Perfect. Okay, so I can see your answers here now. Chat. Feel free to type in any mute notification. Yes. So many answers. Come on, guys. Or maybe you didn't notice. Maybe after the chat, you just forgot everything we spoke about. Oh, okay, good, Greta, thank you. I told my husband about it and I was sure I am not doing it often, but then every time I was doing it, he told me about it and it was pretty often. I must say, oh, that's good. Well, that's good or not, but you know, it's good that you had your husband catching you. I've only just found you. The link for this meeting was different. Okay. Yeah, sure. Well, I just started Mel as well. I had, you know, the technicality problems because of mixing up the classes. So we just started. And we're just talking about the homework from last week, which was what negative self-talk do we have? You know, are you aware that you're doing negative self-talk? And the homework was be more aware of that and maybe even ask your family to catch you. And then you will notice that maybe you do a lot more negative self-talk than we realized. And yeah, Greta said that. Anyone else? Did you notice anything? Margaret, Magdalena, Ursula, did you notice any negative self-talk? I can't, it's too hard, it's not for me. Okay, no answer, so I guess everything is fine. Perfect. Oh, okay. I catch mine off. Oh, psychotherapist, so I have to practice what I preach. Yes, very good. Yeah. I do it all the time. I was quite surprised. Yes, very good. Yeah. And this is what yoga is. So yoga just helps us to bring this awareness, you know, to start noticing these habits that we got into and we don't even realize. And it's everyone, it's very common and it happens to everyone because of our society. We are surrounded with the world, the things we don't have, and you know, there's constantly this surrounding us. So it's very normal that we tend to then soak up all that negative self-talk, all that drama, and then do it in our lives. I've been aware about it for a while, and with the practice of noticing, I notice more. Often it's quite subtle and almost hidden. Yeah, that's good as well. Sometimes that happens. Yeah, it's quite hidden. Perfect. Okay, good. So gonna close this, put this on the side for now. And let me see what Ian is saying. Go to the rituals. Okay, I want to focus on the sutras. Last week we softly touched on the sutras, and I want to look into last week we definitely looked into this book. Well, I showed you the book. I told you how I follow the teachings from this book, and today I want us to talk about the sutras in the sense of what is our place with the society. So the yamas, you know, the being aware of what we are doing in the society. And without going into much detail, because you know there's a lot that can be said about it, what we're going to focus on is, since we already brought a bit more awareness with being more aware of our negative self-talk, today or this week, we're going to focus about how we behave with people around us. And the yamas is the first sutra, the first limb, the limb of in the 8 limbs of yoga, you have the first one, which is yama, which is to do with social conduct. And what the Yoga Sutras by Patanjali explains is there is a few steps to go through in order to reach the enlightenment, in order to reach the stage where we feel we are one with the universe, one with nature, and so on. There's different practices. We do the yoga practice, the physical practice, we do the pranayama, we do the meditation, and then there is tantra yoga, there is kundalini yoga, and so on. So we kind of spoke a little bit about that. But that's not enough. So it's not enough to do an hour of yoga a day or meditate for an hour if after, when we go to work, we suddenly start screaming at people or start being judgmental or are quite reserved and run away from people or hide ourselves, avoid speaking to people. Or if we don't speak our truth, if we kind of just say things to please others. So the 8 limbs of yoga takes us through that journey where the yamas is teaching us how to behave in terms of our social environment. And it has things related to the way we speak to people, the way we get attached to material things, but also the way we get attached to people. If we steal, and when talks about stealing is not so much about the stealing material things, you know, stealing a car or stealing someone else's Coke or, you know, a sandwich or something like that. But it's also in the sense of stealing other people's time, stealing other people's energy. And the 8 limbs of yoga starts to bring awareness into these areas on how we behave with people around us, how we speak to them, how we, what's the commentary, the internal conversation we're having about this person. Because sometimes it's not just about what the words say, but it's also about what we're thinking. And it's very much about looking into those areas. So it's important when we are on a more familiar environment, at home with partners or children or brothers and sisters, to start to notice what's going on. Are we wanting to change this person? Are we wanting to inflict in them our views or our ways of doing things or saying things? Are we allowing them to say or share their opinion with us without us feeling like, no, that's not right. What I'm saying is what is right. Are we being respectful of that conversation? So it starts here already with very close people to us. You know, what is our reaction to things? You know, and this happens to everyone. We all sometimes go through this phase where we want to change people, you know. Why don't you do this way? Because, you know, it doesn't make sense doing things that way. You know, why don't you, I don't know, store the lettuce in the drawer or of the vegetables? Why do you put it in the drawer of in the middle of the fridge? And we start to bring awareness to these things, and then we start to maybe understand, is it really the lettuce the problem? Is it really the place of the lettuce that it is a problem, or there is something else? And it could be the problem of the placement of the lettuce, but most likely 90% of the time it's something else. So it starts with our close people, and then it starts with work. And then you go to work and you bring this awareness of how do you interact with your colleagues and managers, bosses. Are you a people pleaser? Are you looking to be the favorite, you know, the best? Are you looking for praises? Are you judging people on their capabilities or inabilities? Are you impatient and you just want people to get things done, and sometimes you don't really understand why people don't do the things as quick as you or as efficient as you or whatsoever? Are you short-tempered? Or are you maybe very calm, so calm to the point that people might make you a little bit of a doormat, you know, might take a bit of abuse of your kindness, of your not shyness, but, you know, maybe you're not someone that speaks too much. Maybe you're not someone that likes to have conflict, so you don't say anything, or you just say yes to everything. Are you someone that just takes on a lot of work, or someone that just stays in the background and doesn't take too much work so that you don't get too exposed to maybe not being able to do or not being able to meet up the targets? And this is a journey. You start to bring that awareness into your work environment. You start to notice this people annoys me. This person makes me feel very, very happy. The boss didn't tell me good morning. Maybe I did something wrong. I need to speak about this project with someone, or I need to speak about this with someone, and I'm feeling nervous, I'm feeling anxious. And you start to, the first thing, before knowing why, because sometimes it takes a while to understand why these things happened. Before we know why, we need to bring awareness that it is happening. That's the first thing. And these might take a few months, might take a few weeks, might take days, depending on each person. So the first thing is, how am I behaving with the society? How am I behaving with the outside world? That's the first thing. And then why I do it, how can I change it, and so on, will come with time. Then it's also things like when you go shopping, when you go to the supermarket, when you go and put petrol, when you do your random society kind of living stuff. How do you feel? How do you behave? How do you speak? How do you port yourself? Are you quite judgmental when you're in the queue of the supermarket? Are you people watching and judging this person or the shopping bag of that person? Or are you someone that maybe is on the phone, mobile phone constantly because, you know, there's nothing to do, you're in the queue, so I might as well be on a mobile phone. When you, I don't know, walk down the street to go somewhere, do you just want to rush and get into that place and avoid any eye contact, avoid any kind of contact with anyone? Or you're someone that maybe takes your time, or plays music to kind of just be with the music and don't have to pay attention to anyone. So this first yama, the social conduct, is really about bringing awareness to the different areas of your life. And you know, some of you have family, some of you apart from work also have other things going on. Every environment is going to teach a little bit about yourself. It's going to teach you a little bit about yourself. And the first thing to do is to be aware. And it's quite interesting that all these things woven together, they all kind of interlinked, because last week when we talked about the morning rituals, we talked about the morning rituals so that we can be more aware during the rest of the day. We start the day by breathing, by connecting to our body, by being in the present moment and being fully connected to us, to ourselves. We then just a while ago talked about breaking the day and breathing, bringing this connection to the breath, to ourselves, removing this external awareness, external focus, blocking it a few times a day to bring it within. And all of these helps us to then be more aware in the work environment, in the family environment, when we're walking down the street, when we're driving, when we're eating, when we're deciding what to eat, and all of that. Because then your awareness is more turned inwards, which is what yoga teaches, to look within. If we don't practice the looking inwards throughout the day by focusing on our breathing, by having your morning rituals or your yoga practice or whatever it is, then anytime you want to do bring more awareness in your life to understand and learn more about yourself, it's almost impossible, because you're constantly focusing on the perception of your senses, on what your eyes see, on what your ears hear, on what your nose smells, you know, all of these things, rather than actually be focusing on what's going on in here. And in here, we don't need the senses. When you're focusing within in yourself, you don't need your eyes, you don't need your sense of smell, you don't need your sense of touch, you don't need your taste, nothing. You just need awareness to go within. And then when you start to really build up on this ability to bring your awareness within, it's easy to find yourself, to catch yourself wanting to have an argument with someone because they put the thing in the wrong place, or because they sent you an email in a time where you were wanting to do something else, you know, whatever it is, you will catch yourself feeling irritated, annoyed, angry, whatever the emotion. And then because there is this space of awareness, there is the emotion and you being aware. And when you then have that space, you're able to choose how you feel. We talked about this last week, that suffering is inevitable, it's going to happen, stresses in life are going to happen, things going up and down, mess up a little bit, pear shape, whatever expression you want to use, it is going to happen. What will start to change with all these practices of focusing in the breath, focusing in your meditation, or in whatever it is, it's that you create a space, create this space between the reaction into what you actually do. And that's why very often they say that you become less reactive and you act more. Reactive would be the situation happens and you bang, slap it right in the face, the situation. You just suddenly, that's it, you're in it. Your emotions are there, you're upset or you're annoyed or you're whatever. And then we move from this reaction mode to more of an action, where you take an action from a place of conscious action rather than unconscious. We all had that. Sometimes something happens, we get really annoyed, we go like, blah, 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 and then it's like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Why did I get so annoyed about this? Come on, blah, 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 blah. And we all sometimes have this place where there's no space. There's no space between the situation and our reaction. But you get better at it. The more you practice this awareness, the better you get at getting the situation happening, seeing your reaction without doing the reaction, and then choosing another action. It's quite funny. You can see the things kind of, it's like a movie, you know. Sometimes some meditation practices are taught, imagine that whatever thoughts are coming into your mind, it's like a movie screen playing in front of you, and you're just a spectator. And here is the same thing. You will see your the self, the old self, let's say, the self that was completely unconscious, the self that was completely hypnotized or asleep. You will see him or her having all these reactions of angriness or impatience or resentment or annoyed or feeling depressed or whatever it is. And you see yourself, oh, that's how I usually react. That's how I usually would have responded to that. That's how I would have reacted to that situation. But I don't want to do that. So you, as the spectator, you then choose how you want to react and how you want to act in the situation. The one that I was talking about earlier on, which was about stealing, for me, it's really good because in a very unconscious way, very often we end up stealing other people's energy and other people's time. And this is, again, because of that thing that we are so into our own dramas, our own life, and our own objectives, and our own stresses, and so on. And this practice of bringing more awareness on how you deal with life, how you deal with people, will help you to see yourself doing this. Will help you to notice on, I am so eager in getting this done today that I'm being a bit too, like, too aggressive, we can say, or maybe a bit too hoover, like I'm sucking the energy out of this person, or I'm manipulating this person to do something for me because I am so obsessed, or I'm so eager, or I'm so stressed, or this or that. And this can help. It can happen a lot, not only at work but at home as well. You know, in the dynamics of couples or children, can happen a lot that we end up wanting to get things done, get them done now, or get them done the way we want, the way that we say is the right way. And we end up actually getting this person involved in our dramas, involved in our stresses, involved in our anxieties. Sometimes you can see this a lot when we tend to suffer a bit more from anxiety, from that thing of, I have this to do, I have that to do, I have that to do, blah, 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 so many things to do. I don't have time to be wasted with waste timers, you know, so I just need you to get this done now, or let's just get this done now, or come on, move on, be quick, blah, blah, let's hurry up, blah, blah, you know, all of these things. And actually, this all anxiety, stress, and demand that we are requiring is imposed, is created by us. And we end up bringing the people around us with us, because the energy in our bodies have a huge reach. Studies have shown that the reach is more than a meter. So if in my energy field, the energy is of stress, anxiety, whoever is next to me, working or eating, will feel that energy. Some people are a bit more intuitive than others, but that's the energy that we transpire. And we all had this situation where sometimes you go to a place and it just doesn't feel good. You know, some people or some places just don't feel good energy. You don't have a good vibe from them. You don't have a good energy. So the non-stealing obviously is to do with a lot of these material things, which is obvious, but there is an underlying non-stealing that it's also important to notice. And most of us do it unintentionally. And the awareness helps us to really notice that we can change a bit in those areas. Let me have a look at the time. Okay, we're good. We're still on time. I want to know if there is any questions from your side before I say anything else, and I need to have a drink as well. Or just tell me if this is useful, if you're okay. It's actually quite a good time to practice this social conduct, the yamas, because we are in this lockdown and we don't really have so much contact with colleagues and people. But the small contact that we have, it will make it easier, will be easier to actually practice your awareness, rather than on a normal kind of days or working weeks where you go out and you're surrounded by people and work and supermarkets and, you know, whatever thing you do. Here and now it's a bit easier because you have less social interaction. And I find it very difficult to change my behavior to other people. I am the calm, kind person, not talkative at all. Okay. Same here, and it is really hard for me to say no to others, even when I don't like it. You know, it's what I was saying. It's great to have the awareness. You know, as sad as it sounds, an addict, a person addicted to something can only change their addiction or work towards becoming non-addict if there is awareness, if they are fully aware that they are addicted to something. And in this situation of learning about ourselves and understanding more our own self, our behaviors and so on, the first thing and the most important thing is to be aware. So for you, Anna and Greta, it's great that you are aware. Whether you want to change it or not, it's up to you. Whether now is the right time or not, it's up to you. But you can bring even a greater sense of awareness. And that sense of awareness goes from being aware that you are wanting to say something, but you're not going to say because you don't say, and that's where you feel more comfortable. And then be more aware, like, what kind of labels are you attaching yourself to? No one is born shy. No one is born the one that doesn't say things. We are all born, and Bhagavad Gita talks about, we are all born from the same seed. We have different experiences of life. We have different karmas. You know, in yoga, they talk about karmas, which is whatever experiences you bring from other lives. We have different education. We've been brought up in different countries, different ways of living and languages, ways of expressing, and so on. but we all were born from the same seed. We are all, let's say, pure. And it's quite funny that in a part on I don't know if it is Bhagavad Gita or Yoga Sutras, I can't remember. We are all normal, and then with the time we become unnormal or anormal. I don't know what's the opposite of normal. We are all normal, but then we become these weird human beings. The human being that becomes shy or that lets other people talk, or the human being that talks over the others, and so on. And that's what Bhagavad Gita and Yoga Sutras explain. We are this pure seed, this seed that it is equal and we are all the same. And then with life, we start to get all these layers, all this conditioning. So what I would say, Anna and Greta, is bring even more awareness of what labels are you attaching yourself to. I'm shy, I don't know, I'm not that interested in the subject, so I'm not going to talk, or I don't want to talk over people because it's not nice. Whatever commentary and chatter comes to you when you pull yourself back, when you kind of shut yourself down, or when you let the other people speak, notice what is the chatter that goes on in your mind. And this applies for anyone, it's just not when you're more quiet. Awareness is the key to change. You can't change that you're not aware of, and then yoga help with working on yourself starting. Yes, thank you very much, Mel. Thanks, Mel. Yes. Chitta vritti have a big part to play. Yes, the modifications of the mind. Yes, we hook into, yeah. And the modifications of the mind that Mel is talking about is all this kind of conditioning, all these ideas that we have been, that we learned, we absorb, we absorb from the place we live, from people we talk to. But just to also give you, to put things in perspective, we have several examples of people that have grown up in the same family dynamics. The most clear practical example, it is, let's say, two kids, same age, pretty much, two brothers, let's say, or two sisters, let's say, pretty much the same age, have a year difference between each other. And they grew up in the dynamics of a family, mother and father, and so on. And things, at some point maybe didn't go so well, and there was divorce, or there was domestic violence, or there was a parent that lost their job and things didn't go very well, whatever it is. And then you see that further down the life, one son probably ended up turning towards drugs, or turning towards alcohol, or turning towards a life of diminishing the self, a life that was not very empowering. And then you see the other sister or the other son that turns more into a life of empowering, a life of doing something that was really important to this person, or something of empowerment. I don't want to say, value, because everyone's journey is a journey. But the perspective I want you to find here is that regardless of what your environment is, there are always choices. And the same environment, on the same environment, two people can actually take completely different choices. And that obviously has to do with a person, with themselves, and their mental strength, or their mental focus, or their bravery, or their courage, or their determination, or their energy. Maybe doshas are involved in that, whether they are pitta or kapha or water, and so on. So I just wanted to give you this perspective for us to understand the importance of not letting yourself being defined by your past. Not letting yourself being defined by your past. And this is something that I resonate a lot, because for many, many years, my past haunted me, and I always felt like I would never be good enough because I've made so many bad decisions in the past. And it took me a while to understand that the past is past, it's gone, and I don't have to live my life attached to the past and drag the past on me and put the past in my back and carry the past with me all the time. You can always choose to be someone different at any time of your life, or lead a different life at any time of your life. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's what it is. It's just a journey, and everyone is in their own journey. Some of them go through certain things to then get to a certain place. Any more questions, everyone? Anything else you want to add or ask? Is there something that you want me to talk about? Is there some situation in your life that it's kind of, you don't know what to do, you're not sure how to resolve it, any decision, and can I help in some way? Or maybe it's something I can look into, and then next week we can talk about it. Ooh, very nice. Wow, 27 kilos, Anna. Congratulations. Yes, yeah, yeah. And you know, this is the thing. Change and to become a better person, it's not always easy. Otherwise, everyone would do it. So you go through first the very challenging, the very stressful moments. You go through this period where you're not sure if you're going to be able to make it. But then once you overcome that, it starts to become easier. And I like to use the example of the bicycle. You know, do you all cycle? Just raise your hand if you cycle. Yeah, great, good. So if you cycle, you probably remember when you started to cycle, the beginning, when you wanted to cycle, you were very wobbly. Maybe you even had those little two wheels on the side to kind of help you to cycle. And you were very wobbly, or you had someone to hold you a little bit until you could maybe cycle a little bit by yourself. And then maybe you were okay to just go by yourself, but still a little bit wobbly. And then with the time, the more you cycle, the easier it got. And now you can even cycle without having hands on the wheel, or you can cycle while you are, I don't know, texting, or you can cycle while you are singing. It just becomes natural. And that's the same thing when you're learning a new skill. And this thing of improving your life, improving how you feel, improving yourself is all about learning a new skill. There's nothing else. Anyone can do it. None of us has any special gifts or any special things. We can all do it. But what it takes is resilience. What it takes is patience. What it takes is persistence. What it takes is to keep going, to keep going, to keep going. And even when you have times where suddenly something hits you and threw you out of the bicycle, or in life something hit you and you suddenly felt like you just, oh my God, I thought I had this sorted. I thought I worked on this thing about myself and so on. Even when you have that, you still get up and keep going, keep going, keep going in that journey that you set yourself to go. The opposite, which is, oh, I'm definitely not good at cycling, I'm not going to cycle anymore, or this is never going to work, I'm never going to become a better person, why am I bothering with this? That's not an option. That should not even be in the cards. what's in the cards is, okay, no problem. I fell out of the bicycle. I'm going to get back into it and I'm going to keep going. And yes, sometimes you may hurt yourself a little bit, do a cut, do a wound, scratch your skin, whatever it is. But it's all worth it, because at some point you won't hurt yourself anymore. And I feel like this analogy of bicycle and, you know, learning to cycle, to get in your bicycle and so on, applies to anything in life. It's for everyone. Anyone can do it. And I think that's it. I think we've gone through a lot of things. Oh, and now can do the shoulder stand. Oh, yes. Oh my God, that's so great, Anna. Wow. Congratulations. Oh, wow, this is amazing. And you know, it's been what, 2 months that you studied yoga? And of course, you've only been here 1 month and something, and then you had to go back to Greece. This is amazing. I'm so happy for you. This is good, good. Guys, if you have any last minute questions, anything you want to talk about, ask, let me know in the next few minutes. Okay, I think that's it. Everyone is good and happy to leave it here. I'm very happy to leave it here as well. Thank you so much for being here again. And again, apologies for all the mess of the classes. I think I only drank 1 glass of champagne, but it might have made my neurons go a bit cuckoo because I got everything mixed up. But anyway, today is a special day, so we're all excused. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I love you all. I appreciate you listening to this, and I hope it's helpful. Oh, homework. Homework is going to be... Notice when you're stealing time from other people. Very precise. Notice when you're stealing time from other people. That's the homework. Got it? Thumbs up. Thumbs up if you got it. Okay, good. Well done, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you. Really enjoyed. Very good. Help us focus. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Elliot.